All right, we got the call from the river. They had room for one more truck. Daggum River is still foggy and they can't get a barge up the river. So what happens when that water is absolutely frigid and then it's, 55 degrees out here with really high humidity, that river fogs up and that's the only place it is, but it's way too unsafe to try and get a barge up the river. So this is now, 3 or 4 days. We've managed to get a couple of truckloads here and there in as they have room, but now they're about to get plumb filled up and want to shut down all hauling until they get a barge in, which will probably be next week sometime. So anyway, we're getting the bin loaded back up. I think we're gonna be down to the bin sweep here real soon. We had to open up the intermediate wells. That would sound like it's ready to get off of it. Yep, she's about to run dry down there. Alright, we're pretty much down to the intermediate well. As you can see our bin sweep kind of poking out. We're going to have to get in here and dig it out just a little bit so we can get it started up. But thankfully, no more having to pick you up the center and put it on the center well, because this one is permanently mounted. If you remember, this one is our paddle sweep, so shouldn't have to be in here very much at all except just cleaning up around the edges. Really excited to get to try this thing out again. All right, we kind of got it dug out there. Let's hope it cranks up. Oh yeah, look at that. Fired right up like it was nothing. All right, she's running good now. Man, this is so much better than having to be there in the bin pushing that auger around and the strippers behind it. So now we'll just stand out here, let the bin sweep do the work. You'll probably have to run around about 5 to 6 times. We gotta get in there and sweep right around the edges, but that paddle sweep should sweep that floor almost perfectly clean. Just gotta get in there with a leaf blower, do a little bit of blowing around. So anyway, a lot of y'all might wonder while Andy's hauling grain to the river, what exactly am I doing? Well, other than cleaning out the bin, loading the loadout bin for the next load, a lot of other things going on, and this is where we really get into a lot of the business side of our farming, doing a lot of planning, doing a lot of ordering, and just kind of figuring out exactly where we go this next year and preparing for it. I'm getting online, I'm ordering parts for upcoming projects that we need when we're running our equipment through the shop. Also, another big thing that we're doing is ordering seed. Just yesterday got done writing all of my variable rate seed prescriptions for corn. So we're getting our corn, cotton, and soybean seed ordered, and really this year kind of disgusted with the process, because corn market's just going down. Corn is not looking good. So a lot of these manufacturers are raising the prices on their seed. DeKalb took like another 7 to 8% increase across the board. I mean, right now we're looking at $300 a bag corn seed. Never seen that before. It was only just a few, 4, 5, 6 years ago. We were paying anywhere from $200 to $240 a bag of corn. Now we're up there close to $300. Pioneer's corn prices are pretty much flat, but they really don't have many varieties that excite me other than the good old 1464 that's been doing us a heck of a job for a long time. There's just really not a lot of exciting offerings from Pioneer, and Pioneer's about $20 a bag cheaper, which equates to about about $8, $9 an acre cheaper on seed costs, but you're looking at, say you're looking at $4 a bushel corn, all it takes is a 2 bushel increase in yield and you've made up the increased seed costs, which I think we're definitely seeing with DeKalb right now. So, cropland, their varieties, they're up there expensive too. I really don't know about Agrigold. I really don't know much about that corn, but soybean seed, it's up a little bit. Cottonseed, I'm sure it's going to be up. I haven't even asked the price on it, but we're going to spread our risk around pretty good with quite a few corn hybrids. We did good with 6595 last year. We did good with 1464 Pioneer. 6999 DeKalb did real good with it. We're going to try a couple others. 5982 on our real tough ground. Going to try to get our hands on some 6835. It's looked really good in plots. As far as soybeans go, 47A64 has been awesome on our double crop. And we're going to try a couple new ones. 46A90LX, that's a new one we're going to try. Look really good in plots. And then a brand spanking new one was the Z series from Pioneer, 48Z70BLX. We're going to put it on our full season acres. It's supposed to be a top dog too. And then going down to cotton, I made up my mind. I'm not playing around anymore with any kind of medium maturing varieties. The only thing I'm considering is early maturing varieties, and these two were standouts last year. They were standouts in pretty much all the plots, Phytogen 360 and Delta Pine 2115. And unless my cotton scout comes back after his winter meetings and tells me I need to look at something else, those two varieties that are going to cover all of our cotton acres. But anyway, looking at acres, our corn acres are going to be down just a hair, just because on paper right now, corn just ain't looking all that good. Soybeans definitely looking a lot better. Wheat, double crop beans definitely looking a lot better, and cotton's looking a lot better. Soybean prices have kind of come down. They're still at a good level. Corn prices definitely come down. They're really not at a good level. Cotton prices have been staying up there above 80 cents a pound, which for us is profitable if we can make really good yields. And something else we've been working on has been all of our spreadsheets, our business spreadsheets that we do to keep track of our financials and really kind of show us where we are as a farm and how well we're doing as far as profit, managing costs, and everything else. Also do this for our bank. We've got to renew our operating line of credit, and I give them all the facts and figures of our farm. And I got quite a few spreadsheets to kind of show us, what our 5-year average is, what our projected income is for this year, what our projected income was last year versus our actual income. And then I wanted to mention one thing that kind of really just annoys me every year, and I don't know why they do it, but there's supposedly a lot of experts you see in agriculture, in the print media and whatever, they're talking about, you got to know what your cost per bushel is so you know what you need to market your grain at. And me personally, that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because your cost per bushel depends on how much your inputs were for that year, and then how much you made as far as income off that acre, and then you can know your profit per bushel. Well, going in, we got a pretty good idea of what my cost per acre is going to be. I don't have any idea what my cost per bushel is, because I don't know how much I'm going to yield. I don't know what price I'm going to sell it for. I might kind of have a rough idea about a price that I might get, but I've got absolutely no idea how much I'm going to yield. I might yield 100 bushels an acre, might yield 150 bushels an acre, might yield 200 bushels an acre, and that's going to make a really big difference in what your cost per bushel is, how much you actually yield. Last year, looking at my corn spreadsheet, I'll point it out to you. See right here, my projected cost per bushel was $2.95 a bushel. Now that was making 153 bushels per acre, but I was selling that 153 bushels an acre at $6.20 a bushel. Now neither one of those things happened. I made well over 153 bushels an acre, but I sold for far less than $6.20 a bushel. So my actual average cost per bushel, because my expenses wound up being a little bit cheaper. I mean, pretty close to what I projected, but just a little bit cheaper. But anyway, our average cost per bushel, because we made quite a bit actual higher yield, was $2.56 per bushel, about almost a 40-cent per bushel difference. And that's what I'm saying, using your cost per bushel to figure out what you need to sell your corn for is absolutely stupid, because you have no idea what your actual cost per bushel is until you've actually harvested the crop. And if you're going to do any kind of forward contracting, you need to do a lot better system on figuring out what price you need to sell your grain at, rather than waiting to know what your average cost per bushel is, because as you can see, your projected cost per bushel at the beginning of the year could be completely different. And then going along with that, I had a projected profit per bushel of $3.25 a bushel. However, due to my piss poor corn marketing this year, actual came in at almost $1 less than what my projected $2.39 per bushel. So anytime you read a farm magazine and all these supposed experts telling you, you need to base your marketing on what your cost per bushel is, don't listen to them. Just go ahead and lock in at the highest price that you can. As long as you know that price is going to be above your cost of production, go ahead and at least lock in some bushels, and then kind of layer your selling throughout the year to try and take advantage of any more rises in the market. That's my advice. Of course, I didn't follow my advice last year, but that would be my advice. So anyway, now I got these spreadsheets figured out. I've got a PowerPoint I've got to get done for the Cotton and Rice Conference early next week. I'm going to be giving a presentation on our experience with biologicals, what we've learned, and also about management of chicken litter in cotton fields in West Tennessee. That will be the title of my presentation. Hope y'all able to be there. Hope I run into you. After a bunch of starts and stops, we finally getting close to the end of our soybean haul, and really excited to get these last few loads out of here. All right. All right, I know it doesn't look like it, but after those, all that rain we had last week, and some of them heavy, some of this stuff started to get packed back down. It's actually getting a little firmer than what it was, not quite as sloppy. But really right now, we need some sun and wind. Not only for this, but for our wheat crop. You can see through the trees. We gotta get some nitrogen on it soon, and there ain't no way we can get in the fields right now. All right, folks, this bin sweep has run almost all the way around, and I have not had to be in this bin one time since I hit the start button. It has done this all on its own. We have not had to stand behind it and kick it, push it forward. As you can tell, we haven't done any kind of shoveling behind it because it's a paddle sweep. We're not going to do any shoveling behind it. The only thing we're going to have to do with our scoop right here is you see this right here around the edge. Now you can tell the paddle sweep's not going to reach all the way to the edge. So the only thing we got to do is just take our scoop and just kind of just pull it away from the edge right there. Then we'll come back with our broom and sweep this strip up right here. And after the paddle sweep gets all the way around, it'll start making another trip, and then you know, it'll start cleaning all of this up. And I expect probably going to have to go around probably about 5 or 6 times to completely get this floor clean, and then just come in here with a leaf blower and be just minimal work. So that's kind of how it worked out during wheat harvest, and should work out just as well on soybeans. So one thing about this paddle sweep that I've got to figure out is cord management, because right now, you know, this cord just going right into the motor, and as you can imagine, this thing spins around. You know, there's a good chance for it to get caught. So I want to build some kind of pole that comes up that the cord can come to where it can just kind of do this up here and no risk of it getting caught in the motor. So that's probably going to be a spring or summertime project before we put more grain in here. All right, once I get it looking just like that, I shouldn't have to come in here and do anything again. Just let the thing go round and round and round till the floor is clean. All right, next thing I want to tell y'all about something might actually help some of y'all out if you own a late 90s Chevrolet truck. Now, if y'all remember from this past spring, we had a bunch of problems with the brakes, real spongy and everything. And anyway, first off, we replaced the master cylinder. That didn't do anything. Then we checked out all the rear brakes. They was completely slap wore out. We overhauled them. Still had spongy brakes and not much braking in the back. We took it to a shop in Humboldt to try and diagnose it, and anyway, they computer bled the brakes, and it helped out a little bit, but definitely still did not solve the problem. So anyway, we used it the rest of the year. Definitely was a little dicey hauling our header trailer around on stopping, but we were able to do it safely. So this winter, one of my good friends opened up a new shop there in Humboldt called Bush Automotive. So anyway, took the truck over there to them, see if they could diagnose it. And after doing a bunch of diagnosing, they finally figured out that the ABS module had gone bad. You know, something about maybe some pistons or something there were frozen up, and it was not directing flow to the rear brakes. So anyway, after scouring the US trying to find a new ABS module, because it's been discontinued from GM, there's no aftermarket options out there, there's no reman options out there. The only options out there are some used ones on eBay and probably in a salvage yard, which I really didn't like. They came up with an innovative solution, and their solution was to get rid of the ABS module, which sits right here, and then just put a standard proportioning valve on there and hook that up to the master cylinder just to completely bypass all the ABS stuff. Now, the downside is we don't have ABS anymore. The upside is, though, we got brakes that actually work. So I believe that's definitely a lot better and safer option than having ABS on a system that's not working properly. So anyway, if you got this era truck, I imagine they probably use the same ABS module in the 1500 series, the 2500 series, which I know are some very popular trucks still in pretty high demand. If that part of your brake system fails, there's no options out there. So about the only way to fix it good is to completely get rid of the ABS module. You know, put your proportioning valve in there so you can adjust the flow from the front brakes to the back brakes, and you'll have a great working brake system. You just won't have ABS, but heck a lot better than scrapping a good old truck like this. All right, I just got back from the Cotton and Rice Conference in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Had a good couple of days there, and Andy's been busy hauling in the meantime, and I believe he's about got everything finished up. So he got the bulk of the soybeans out, so the only thing that's left is to run this thing around and get completely clean and be done with beans. Get this started, get a time lapse, see just how good of a job it does on cleaning this floor up. All right, guys, I don't know how well the audio is going to work. My mic seems to be messing up, but anyway, there you go, all clean. I think it took this paddle sweep 3 trips around the bend to pretty much get the floor cleaned up, and it did an absolutely fantastic job. It does have one small place where it's not doing too well. If you look at our floor here, you know, our floor is not completely smooth. You know, it's got ridges in here that's, you know, it's a perforated floor that air can blow up through to dry our grain. And you see all the ridges are running that way. And when the paddle sweep is in that position and it's sweeping along those ridges towards the center well, it's doing a real good job. However, when it gets over here and the paddle sweep is running perpendicular to the floor, trying to sweep across the ridges, it doesn't do quite as good a job of cleaning, and that's where you saw me, you know, blowing with the leaf blower and having to do some sweeping. But it is just very, very minor labor compared to what we were doing before, having to follow the auger sweep around, shoveling behind it and blowing. Definitely a lot easier. We were in the bend here just very, very minimally, and it's only towards the end. I definitely got to do some cable management here because it shorted out only once where it pulled it just a little too tight. So this summer I'm gonna have to fix a pole coming up this way that the power cord can come up and hang down, and the auger sweep can rotate around up under it without worrying about pulling it tight. So that's just something we're gonna do for another day. But if y'all got existing grain bins, or you're thinking about building your own grain system, that's got to be like #1 thing on your list, is have a paddle sweep. They are well worth the money. They're maybe about 1/3 more cost than what a traditional auger sweep is, but man, I promise you, down the road you will not regret it, because nobody's ever getting any younger. Very few people are getting more fit, and you know, and it's definitely a lot more safe with us being out here while the auger's in there working. You know, there is some degree of risk of being in there while an auger's working. So really glad I got that one this last year. In fact, I like this so much, our bin #3, where we got another carry-in auger, I've already ordered another paddle sweep to replace that one. So we'll have 2 paddle sweeps. And then our other 2 bins, we'll have 2 augers. However, these 2 are direct drive augers. We don't have to pick them up and mount them on the center well. They stay permanently affixed. Of course, we still got to stand in behind them and shovel behind them, but they've got a different tire on the end. They pull a lot better. We don't have to force them around. The only thing we got to do is shovel behind them and clean the floor, which I could definitely deal with for a few more years. So anyway, guys, that ought to have us wrapped up on soybean hauling. Ought to have us all wrapped up on all grain hauling till we get some wheat coming in June. There we go. That's going to wrap up this video. Appreciate y'all watching. See you in the next one.